Think it will increase pressure south of the border for a ban?
I think that is certain. Downing Street said today that there would be at some point, although they wouldn't specify when, a free vote again in the Commons in Parliament at Westminster on the subject of hunting. But of course the difference, a key difference here, is that the Scottish Parliament is not subject to the dictates of a second chamber. It's not subject to the House of Lords on domestic legislation. What is being voted for tonight in the Scottish Parliament is potentially, as soon as it gets royal assent, the law of Scotland. In England, a vote in the Commons then has to go to the Lords, and that's a bigger problem.
Brian Taylor, thanks very much indeed. British Airways is cutting nearly 6,000 jobs. The announcement means the company will have lost 13,000 staff since the terrorist attacks of September the 11th. The cuts are part of a plan for the airline to reduce costs and return to profitability. Former Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic has made a defiant first statement at his trial for genocide and crimes against humanity. He challenged the legality of the War Crimes Tribunal at The Hague and questioned the legitimacy of his arrest in Belgrade last year.
The prosecution has orchestrated a media campaign that is being waged and organized. It is a parallel trial through the media, which, along with this unlawful tribunal, are there to play the role of a parallel lynch process.
Now, SBS, an Australian television company, has broadcast a controversial documentary showing what appeared to be secretly filmed footage of an alleged meeting between Morgan Tsvangirai, the Zimbabwe opposition leader, and a Canadian political consultancy called Dickens and Madsen. The footage allegedly shows Mr. Tsvangirai discussing the possibility of assassinating Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe, an assertion that Mr. Tsvangirai's political party today strongly denied. Earlier, I spoke to the BBC reporter John Sweeney, an expert on Zimbabwe, and I asked him whether he thought the tape was authentic.
It's extremely fuzzy. The guy in the film, it may be the leader of the opposition, it may not. What's interesting is how it's put together. Look at it very closely. He uses the word eliminate, and look very closely at what he says the moment he says eliminated.
They call the suspension of the Constitution an emergency.
No, they don't have to. All they need to do is to tell the acting vice president, look, we've got a crisis. We cannot proceed immediately after the head of state has been eliminated. To me, that's the fundamental issue. And that plus how the two forces, the MDC on one hand and the army on the other, can work together to ensure a smooth transition towards democracy through an electoral process, even if it means delaying the election.
Well, you're obviously not looking at one single piece of tape there, are you?
No. I mean, it's fishy. I mean, that man could be James Brown on a bad hair day, but I've asked the MDC 4 times today, is it him? And at no time have they said, no, it's not him. They've actually said he was in Canada at the time it was supposed to be recorded. So let's go with the possibility that it is him there. And then the next question is, have they doctored the tape? Have they actually made it? So what he's actually said in real life is, until Mugabe is eliminated, I mean politically eliminated, I'm not talking about, him being murdered. And for that bit to have been cut, there is, if you look at that tape very closely, and we've done so a number of times, there is a clear jump where something has been cut. That's what it looks like.
Because this tape will put Mr. Tsvangirai's life in, presumably, even more danger.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of evidence that he may well win a free and fair election, so it's possible that Robert Mugabe is looking for an excuse. Now, this tape gives him that excuse. And then you've got to look at the source of it. Where's it come from? And the man behind this tape, who's actually on the tape, is a man called Ari Ben-Menashe. He's a former Israeli spy, an arms dealer, somebody who was involved in the Arms to Iran affair and also the Robert Maxwell affair. So he's not exactly the Archbishop of Canterbury.
So you wouldn't, looking at the source the tape has come from, be likely to trust it in the first instance anyway?
No. But if a man is desperate, as Robert Mugabe is, and is looking for a pretext to scrap an election, this might be just the thing he's looking for.
John Sweeney, thanks very much indeed. And finally, the markets, the FT 100 share index closed up, while in New York, the Dow Jones also closed up. Against the euro, the pound was up, and against the dollar, the pound was down. Let's have a look at tomorrow morning's front pages if we can. The Times, first of all, we can start with picture. Oh, well, I've got a different front page. How strange. That says my... let's I don't know what that is, but this is the Times' front page, and it has actually the Queen Mother's ambulance. They're going into Sandringham, stayed 90 minutes after her fall. Front page of The Guardian, US targets Saddam. This is back to the access of evil speech. Front page of the Financial Times. Again, same story. Powell, Colin Powell, that is, shrugs off European dismay over axis of evil, saying there's no plan, though, to topple Saddam. And finally, Daily Mail, my baby girl was killed by NHS Direct. That's telephone advice from an operator, apparently. That's all from Newsnight tonight, but there's round-the-clock news coverage on BBC News 24. Kirsty will be here with more tomorrow. Till then, from all of us on the programme, a very good night.
Good evening to you. It looks as if it's turning colder here at about the same time it's beginning to turn milder across into Salt Lake City. They didn't have much cloud there today, a fair amount of sunshine, but the cloud has been building just recently, spreading in from the west. That's heralding a little weather system that will probably bring some flurries of snow during the course of tomorrow, and then after that it's back to reasonably sunny conditions. One of the events taking place tomorrow is the cross-country men's 10 kilometre, and indeed I think that should take place in not too bad conditions. Here we've got high pressure moving in now, quite a squeeze of isobar, so a cold northeasterly wind to go with it. The emphasis is though going to be on a return of frosty conditions, more particularly for central and southern parts in the next few nights. After some early frost, the north gets a little milder, maybe frost returning into next week. But that frost is setting in quite nicely at the moment in the north, across into Ireland too. Many northern and western parts having a really frosty night. Temperature could dip as low as -6 degrees in places. And of course, with all that recent rain, as some of the roads left wet, do watch out for some icy patches, not only on the roads but on the pavements as well. The odd wintry shower in the far southeast first thing. Otherwise, it's going to be dry and sunny for a good part of tomorrow. Thickening cloud, though, spilling into those northwestern areas, and by the afternoon there'll be some outbreaks of rain and the wind picking up as well. Those northwestern parts reasonably mild. Elsewhere, I think you're going to notice it on the cold side, especially in southeastern areas of England with a stiff northeasterly wind. More frost across the south during tomorrow night, and then for the most part another dry day, good deal of sunshine too, a little bit on the chilly side. The northwest of Scotland again is the exception, Northern Isles too, where it'll be windy and milder with some outbreaks of chiefly light rain and drizzle. Not much to choose between Friday and Saturday. It's the northwestern part there where the exception is. Frost in the south to begin with, the odd patch of fog, and then a fine day with a good deal of sunshine. By Sunday, that little weather system will be somewhat further south, giving the northern half of the country more in the way of cloud, a little bit of rain from time to time, but the south remains fine and dry. A very good night to you.
How do you know if a sin is a sin?
Through the eyes of a child.
Tell me what you said.
Do it!
Don't you ever talk to me like that.
Come, see the truth.
A sin is a sin if it's on your conscience.
You're a Catholic, for God's sake!
Nobody talks to me like that! We are skint!
Describe your soul.
Filthy. No matter how poor you are, you can always be clean.
Absolutely filthy.
The award-winning film by Stephen Frears and Jimmy McGovern.
Liam.
Come on!
The man I married said he'd never do that.
He lied.
Liam, next Wednesday at 9 on BBC Two.
Are you feeling bored? Unloved? Like your youth is slipping away?
Well, get over it! Couldn't script it, you really couldn't.
It's Shooting Stars, back for a new series on BBC Two, Monday at 9:30, after Nevermind the Buzzcocks.
Save it for Mondays!
Olympic Grandstand now on BBC Two with a reminder that digital viewers can go interactive by going to your digital tech service and selecting Winter Olympics from the BBC iMenu.
No room for one-trick ponies tonight. The combined means just that, downhill.
As fast as you can, and then the precision and speed of the slalom.
Good evening and welcome to coverage